own your digital media? That's the question that this video is going to be talking about, and the answer is no, apparently. So essentially what's going on, the reason I'm making this video is because if you hadn't heard, Funimation is shutting down for good. And the thing behind it that's making this happen is the merger in regards to Sony. If you guys didn't know, Sony has acquired Crunchyroll, if I remember correctly, and they're merging Funimation and Crunchyroll into one entity, which basically means that Funimation is getting dropped and Crunchyroll is being prioritized. Which wouldn't be quite such a big deal if it didn't mean that the things that people own on there are just not theirs anymore. That's such fucking horseshit that I have to talk about this. Okay, so as part of Crunchyroll's unification fan services announced in March 2022, the Funimation app and website will sunset on April 2nd, 2024, which means that you just can't go on there, like, at all. The transition will not impact your access to the vast library available on Crunchyroll. Well, I would certainly hope not, but it does affect something else, and we'll get to that in a minute. We remain committed to delivering the best anime experience. Sorry. And we'll continue to expand our offerings to cater to your diverse interests. Well, we'll see about that, because what people are interested in is keeping the things that they bought. So on Funimation, you could buy seasons of anime or behind the scenes Blu-ray stuff, things like that. I don't usually do that, but you can, and a lot of people did, from what I'm hearing. Friends that I know also did this. Now, most of this doesn't really matter. It's basically just saying you have to move over your subscription to Crunchyroll. But what I want to point attention to is this. Let's see. Is the right one? Yes. What is going to happen to my digital copies? Now, this is the whole point of this video today. We understand that you may have concerns that your digital copies from Funimation. Sorry. These digital copies available on Funimation were a digital access to the content available on the DVDs or Blu-rays purchased. Please note that Crunchyroll does not currently support Funimation digital copies, which means that access to the previously available digital copies that you bought, by the way, will not be supported. So basically, everything you buy is just not yours anymore. And we're seeing this trend a lot here lately. There's a lot of bullshit in regards to this. That's why I don't usually buy those things. If I really like something, like a show or something, I'll just buy the Blu-rays. I really enjoyed Joker, so here it is. I kind of enjoyed Batman Hush, so here it is. And I'm a big animation guy. These are just the ones I grabbed. I'm not just a Batman guy. I also bought the 80th anniversary thing for Batman. Has pretty much all the animated stuff that I really like. So I bought these, so I'll always have them forever. Because I don't trust these people, and apparently I'm right to. People make fun of me for Blu-rays, but it's true. I will always have them. So we're seeing this trend a lot here lately, where executives and people like that are basically saying we need to get used to the idea of not owning anything. And that's something that Ubisoft executives said here recently, if you guys didn't know. Ubisoft executives says gamers need to get comfortable not owning their games for subscriptions to take off. So it's not just in regards to movies and stuff. It's also in regards to games and other things. Excuse me. Let me see. Philip Tremblay, director of subscriptions at Ubisoft, explained to GI Biz what needs to happen before subscription services become a more significant slice of the American video game business. I don't have a crystal ball, but when you look at different subscription services that are out there, we've had a rapid expansion over the last couple of years, but still relatively small compared to the other models. Yeah, that's true, and people are getting really sick of having 8 different subscription services. So, for example, I used to have HBO purely to watch Doctor Who and DC stuff, and I've just decided no, I'm not doing it anymore. Because I have some of the DC animated stuff here already, and they're putting all those things on other services for some reason. It's kind of weird, but whatever. And I'm tired of Netflix's bullshit too. They keep raising the prices. It's just, It's such a bullshit thing. I'm tired of this idea that you don't own your digital media, and you don't. Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but there's no. I mean, I looked into this a little bit, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of safeguards in regards to what you own and what you don't. And when it comes to digital things, you just don't. They can just take it away at any time they feel like it. Now, there's obviously going to be backlash and stuff, but like, if these services just end, in the case of like Funimation here, you just don't own them anymore. So anyway, let's continue. We're seeing expansion on console as the likes of PlayStation and Xbox bring new people in. On PC, from a Ubisoft standpoint, it's already been great, but we're looking to reach out more on PC, so we see opportunity there. Well, I would hope so. One of the things we saw that gamers are used to, here we go, a little bit like DVD, having and owning their games. Yeah, it's a little important. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen. They got comfortable not owning their CD collection or DVD collection. No, they didn't. I mean, at least I didn't. I know a lot of people who didn't. That's a transformation that's been a bit slower to happen in games. As gamers grow comfortable in that aspect, you don't lose your progress. If you resume your game at another time, your progress file is still there. That's not been deleted. You don't lose what you've... I'll comment on that in a second. You don't lose what you built in-game or your engagement with the game. So it's about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. Okay, so there's a couple things I have to say about this. One, fuck you. Two, I am not buying something so that you can eventually just steal it from me. This is how people pirate things, is when stuff like this happens.
Everyone stay calm. We are taking over the ship. I am us!
This ship cannot be crewed by 2 men. You'll never make it out of the bay.
Son.
I'm playing Pokemon on PC no matter what you say.
It's heavy.
Like, you don't lose what you've built in the game or your engagement with the game. No, I lose the ownership I have of it. Like, how did people... By the way, Ubisoft, you need to fire your PR people, because statements like this come out like all the time. Ubisoft is the big joke of the gaming industry. Like that article not long ago where it's just like, oh, Skull and Bones is a quadruple A game or something. It's too funny. I couldn't get over it. I still have 2 boxes of DVDs. I definitely understand the gamers' perspective with that. But as people embrace that model, they will see that these games will exist, the service will continue, and you'll be able to access them when you feel like. That's reassuring. Oh, so we're just supposed to take your word for it. Is that what I'm hearing? Because Ubisoft in particular never goes back on their word. No one does. You see this bullshit mentality where it's like, oh, well, we're just supposed to take your word for it. because in no way is there any kind of reason that they would take your digital copies of... Oh, wait, Funimation end of services? Oh, no. Like, these people think we're stupid? And most people agree with me. Look at this. Are you comfortable not owning your video games? No, I always buy my games on a disc. Like, and if I could on PC, I would. Most of the time. Not every time, but most games I would. If it's a game I really like, I would. 76% said no, 23% said yes. So clearly, out of 10,000 people. Okay, so clearly, like, streaming is also the thing that works really well with subscription. So you pay when you need it, as opposed to paying all the time. I agree with that to an extent, but like, he doesn't seem to understand that people not owning something is a problem. Or he doesn't care. He does understand, and he doesn't care. Let's see. It's fair to say Tremblay's comments haven't gone well with some gamers who prefer to buy their video games on disc as opposed to downloading them or streaming them. That is correct, but it's worth pointing out that Ubisoft, like many other game publishers, still does release its games on disc for now. While digital sales have grown as a portion of overall sales over the years, a significant portion of players still prefer to own their games. Yeah, and if I could do that on PC reasonably, then I would. But it doesn't really work that way with like Steam and whatnot. This is the kind of shit that makes people want to pirate things.
Thank you, Commodore, for getting us ready to make way. We've had a hard time of it by ourselves.
I don't do that, but I know that people do for this very reason. And even Gabe Newell had something to say about this. He said, piracy is an issue of service, not price. Even this man seems to know about it. One thing that we've learned is that piracy is not a pricing issue, it's a service issue. The easiest way to stop piracy is not by putting anti-piracy technology to work, it's by giving those people a service that's better than what they're receiving from the pirates. Now, in regards to Steam and stuff, I've had games on Steam for a while. I'm somewhat new to the PC space. I've only been here a couple of years, but I do know people who've been on Steam since its inception, basically, and it's still here. You can still download your games. And so when he says, "Oh, we're going to be around forever," I believe him for the most part because he's proved that that's the case. And Steam's not going anywhere. There's shit like Counter-Strike and things like no. It's not going anywhere. Now, granted, I'm still taking this man by his word, but like to an extent, I have no choice really. But there's only so much you can do. For example, Newell noted that Valve was warned against the Russian market due to its private pirate community. In actuality, Steam offered easier access to games, more options, and higher quality downloads than its underground competitors, therefore turning Russia into the studio's most lucrative continental European market outside of Germany. Added Newell, the point was the people who are telling you that Russians pirate everything are the people who wait 6 months to localize their product into Russia. So that, as far as we're concerned, is asked and answered. It doesn't take much in terms of providing better service to make pirates a non-issue. So basically, you have a couple choices in regards to owning what it is that you have. You have one, which is what I do, mostly, buy Blu-rays for things that you really like I tend to do for things. Two, be comfortable with the idea that you don't fucking own anything. They can take it whenever you want, and yeah, that's it. And just buy everything digital. Or, third option, piracy, which, as Gabe pointed out, the reason people mostly pirate isn't necessarily because of price, it's because of service. Now, Nintendo has this problem too, for example, because none of their games are on PC. So people have to emulate them. They don't have a choice. I'm sure a lot of people would prefer to just buy the game straight up off of, say, Steam or whatever. But they can't do that. And so the issue that you're running into is that people are pirating these things or emulating whatever, not necessarily because it's too expensive, but because it's just not available. You don't have a choice. And so if they want to play it on a platform they like, they don't really have much of a say. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up. But the long and the short of it here is that buy Blu-rays for stuff that you really, really like, or 4K, Ultra HD, whatever you want to call it, or DVDs, whatever. Buy those because I don't have, for example, I don't have HBO Max now, but I can watch Batman Beyond whenever I feel like it. I have the whole thing, and it's just absolute lunacy that people like Ubisoft, that companies like Ubisoft are like, oh, you need to get comfortable not owning your shit. What the fuck kind of a stance is that? So, it's a sad day for digital ownership. There needs to be some kind of ironclad laws in regards to this. I did a little bit of research. I don't really see a whole lot of that. There might be a rule I just don't know about, but I did look, and I just don't see it. So the problem we're having now is that people don't own their things, and they could be ripped away at any time. There was that issue a couple of years ago in regards to the PS3 store and the Nintendo eShop, right? Or not the eShop. I forget what it was called, but you know what I mean. Where people just couldn't own their stuff anymore because they never did in the first place. So, me from the future here, just to clarify something, when I was talking about the PS3 stores and the 3DS stores, I recognized that you could still download your games. What I'm talking about is the fact that you couldn't purchase any more, which leads me to believe that these services aren't going to be on forever. So the second they flip that switch, the games that you have are just gone, unless you have them downloaded or something. So my point was that will eventually happen. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. I will be streaming again tonight. Links right here down in the description. And have a good night, guys. And don't trust any of these fuckers.